Hello, this is Manesh Patel from Ichimoku This is April 24, 2013. This is our bi-weekly Ichimoku analysis for all the global markets, where we cover everything from Europe to Eastern Europe to South America to Africa to Asia and so forth. Okay, here is our normal disclaimer. This is for education use only. We're not soliciting you to buy or sell any particular product. If you do so, you're doing that at your own risk. All the charts today are going to be basically from eSignal. Here are my contact details here at info@eiicapital.com. You could also go to our website, ichimokutrade.com, access any of our free videos, heat map alerts, email multiple time frame email alerts, and other resources like a blog and a wiki and so forth. You could also call any of our office locations here. Okay, so let's go and let's start off and start covering Europe. We've added a lot of extra countries now of different world exchanges. Please excuse me jumping around, but we're going to go through all this stuff bit by bit. So here's the UK, and we're going to mark off some support resistances now, since we haven't done that on this one. So if you look here, this basically is broke. It looks like this week so far we're above the resistance value of 63.82, and it looks like we're trying to get back to the value again here. Okay, at 65.04. The key is, where do we close by the end of this week? If we close below 63.82, then we got a high possibility, believe it or not, to get down to 60.65, which is this next support. If we close above 63.82, then we got a high probability to get to 65.04 for the UK FTSE market. So this week is very, very key on exactly where UK closes. Okay, next is German market. German market held its support at basically 75.17. It's trying to get to its resistance level of 77.84, and at that point it's going to be interesting to see exactly what happens there. If it breaks that resistance, then we can sit there and start a trend, continue on with its trend. If it holds there and makes a move down to support and breaks it, then this is going to engage in a major pullback. So this week, in the next 2 weeks, is pretty much going to be critical for the German market too. France. If you look here, look at that big movement by France in the last couple of days, last 2 days. If you look at this, and you could see it's basically back retesting its resistance level here, which is pretty much all the way back up here. So we're retesting resistance as 38.42. Support on this one's going to be 37.33. Okay, here's Ireland. Okay, Ireland here, really not doing anything. It's basically consolidating. A natural movement, believe it or not, is still tilted towards the bearish side, but this is about it for Ireland. Actually, this is not even Ireland. This is a stock, so please ignore that comment. Amsterdam. If you look at Amsterdam, really doing nothing here, trying to basically get past the resistance it broke here at 348. It's trying to get to about 347 now. Support on this one's about 330. Spain looks very ugly, as you can see from here. Stopped the bleed, actually very short of the support at 76.32. Came back, broke the resistance here, which is roughly around 81.20, 81.15, and it's kind of making a move now higher. Depending on where it closes this week, if it closes above 8,200, then it's got a high probability coming back to 86.51. If it doesn't, then it has a high probability of still coming back to find that support at 76.32, which kind of fell short of. Italy here, also on a rebound here. You could see it's basically at a major resistance level right now, which is 16,541, and support level on this one's going to be about 15,983. As you can see, most of the things are coming up to their resistances, but nothing has broken the resistance and continuing on with this trend. Nordic finally sat there and did a pullback to the support level of 10694. It's holding there. Next resistance level is going to be 1158. Oslo, if you look here, basically engaged in a small pullback. It got to this support level of 455, and it went right back to the 475 is its resistance level, which is pretty much retesting now. Switzerland still going on very, very strong. This is a very, very small pullback compared to all the other countries out there. So pulled off its basically bounced off its minor support level at 76.52, and actually at its resistance level at 78.62. But so far, this is the strongest right now as far as Europe area is concerned. I'll come back to Russia in a minute. Israel here is bullish trending here. Is strong too, just like Switzerland, and it's making its move upwards right now. And let's shrink this down some and mark up support resistances for this guy here. And if you look here, this is a support right here, and then support there, and the resistance there. So it pretty much marks him up now. So resistance on this one is 41.04. Support on this one is 37.65. So this is very strong, just like Switzerland is. Turkey, you can see here, it's kind of doing a little pullback now. It looks like this big long movement is falling over, and it's time for a pullback to occur. However, it's got to break the support level at 44.61. Resistance is going to be 46.65. Austria, really nothing going on right now. I think it's trying to sit there, and actually this is not even Austria. This is a stock, so let's move on. I don't know how they got it. Greece is the magical one here. As you can see, this is the Bank of Cyprus. It's not even Greece, so we got to come back to that. Romania. This is not Romania. South Africa. There we go. Here's South Africa here. It held its support level here. And if you look here, these are pretty much the levels here. So basically this guy right here held the support level at 66.54, as you could see, and resistance, it's at resistance of 72.66 right now. Okay. Russia, if you look at Russia, really, if you look at this is bearish right now, and it's starting to look very, very ugly right now as far as Russia's concerned. Is trickling downwards. It looks like it's trying to get to its support level right now at roughly about 1200. So let's move this down here. It's about 1200. Resistance on this one's going to be basically about 1484. Okay, so if you look at Europe, pretty much Switzerland is still very, very strong. Next is now going to be Israel moving out there. Saudi Arabia is basically ranging between 71.89 and 69.98, so nothing exciting there. Dubai is popped out. Look at this movement. It's going strong, and the trend is going up very, very strong. So this is sitting there going past it, and it's doing its all-time high. 2025 as the resistance level that it broke, and it's continuing to make its move upwards here. Is very strong. Abu Dhabi was a little stronger. Let's see how it is now. This is even stronger than Dubai, because if you look at Dubai, you had a little minor pullback here, but look at Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi is just sitting there, still moving forward, very, very high. Looks like it's trying to get to 3,300, which is going to be its next level up there. So both Dubai and Abu Dhabi are basically moving up drastically right now. Qatar, really not doing anything at all. This is investor groups, that's not even Qatar. Kuwait here, this is real estate, that's not it. Oman, that's not it either. So we'll come back. Apparently we didn't get those countries correct as far as the symbols are concerned. Okay, so Abu Dhabi is still leading the pack as far as Middle East is concerned, but Dubai is pretty much short. It's right behind it right now. China, when we got to this resistance here, we talked about it going down. We got to its support level, which is a critical support level at 2,300. And then the next resistance level is going to be basically at 2,400, believe it or not. So keep an eye on this one to see exactly what it does, but everyone around the world is looking at it. Hong Kong, if you look at this, it kind of broke things. Its resistance level is now 22,515, and its support level is going to be basically at 21,007. So it's basically ranging between those two values right now. Korea, If you look at Korea, really not doing anything at all. If you look here, it's ranging between 250 and basically 257, so nothing exciting as far as Korea is concerned. Japan, which is still being on a tear, and you can see this is still moving up drastically. Looks like 14,000 is basically its next target. Tokyo, of course, is still moving up too, just like Japan. Indian Sensex market, if you look here, this basically came very close to support, 17,975. Didn't quite get there at all, fell short, and now basically it's at the top of the range, which is its major resistance, which is trying to get to, which is basically 19,245. Singapore is basically trending here. It's been trending very, very nicely upwards here and very, very strong going forward. Malaysia, really not doing anything at all. Broken the resistance at 1696, but really hasn't taken off at all from there. And it's very critical. It needs to. If it doesn't, then this thing is going to sit there and come down and get back into the consolidation range. Support on this one's going to be 1656. Speaking ironic how Malaysia market is not really doing anything, and now Singapore is moving. Indonesia, we'll come back to Australia in just a moment. Indonesia is moving very, very strong, so that's very strong too. Let's see, Thailand. Thailand doesn't seem to be as strong as the other Asia countries here. You can see it's done a little minor pullback, but it's still very, very strong trending. 1450 is basically its major support, and then resistance is basically 1600. Philippines here is still very, very strong going up. Vietnam, really not doing anything at all. 13,200 is the support. 14,000 is basically going to be its resistance. So Vietnam is really not doing anything at all as we move forward. Let's go to New Zealand. New Zealand is very, very strong, moving up. And let's look at Australia. Australia now is kind of pulled back here. So this was leading. This was kind of second to Japan. Kind of pulled back off now. Did a minor pullback. Went below. Basically, support is going to be 50.22 and 51.24 is pretty much resistance. So if you look at the region, you still have Japan very, very strong, and then you have basically Singapore and New Zealand, and then the Philippines and Thailand to follow right after that. And those are the countries that are very strong right now in Asia. If you look at the North America and South America side, let's start off with Santiago, Chile. If you look at Santiago, Chile, nothing really going on here. We just realign the support resistances in this guy. If you look at this, support is basically 42.32 and resistance is 43.60 roughly. So nothing really going on except price ranging between those two values. Brazil, still breaking down slowly. You can see this more and more. Basically, if you look at this, it bounced off its support here, 52,494. Next resistance is going to be here, which is 56,000, and then the ultimate resistance is going to be 57,000. It's pretty shame because this thing is basically consolidating now between 52,000 and 63,000. It really didn't sit there and take off, go higher or go lower at the same time. But a lot of people are thinking it's going to break 63,000 and have the potential to keep on going higher, but they didn't quite happen. Venezuela, really nothing going on here. Let's go to Argentina. Argentina basically has broken this resistance here. Right here, 35.60. It's trying to sit there and go higher. So that's a good, nice little trend upwards. Colombia, still breaking down slowly with time. It's at its resistance level of 13,642. The key will be is what will happen at this level. Mexico, if you look at Mexico, it's holding at basically the 42,700 level that it's holding, and the resistance is basically 43,970. So this thing's just kind of hanging around really hasn't made a move at all, but it was very, very strong earlier, but now it's kind of just sitting there consolidating. Canada, you could see it made a huge movement down to the next level of support. It broke the support at 12,300, got to the next one, which is right at 12,000, and resistance now. And this guy is going to be roughly right about here, 12,333. Okay, for Canada. And now let's talk about the U.S. markets. U.S. markets Dow still going on very, very strong. If you look at support levels for the Dow, it's basically going to be here, 14,334 is its support level. And next one's going to be basically 13,673 is its next support level. Okay. Then you have the S&P 500. Look at the S&P 500. A little more weaker than the Dow, as you could probably tell, because it's consolidating more here at the top. Support level is going to be basically 1542. Is going to be the first support level for this. And lastly, NASDAQ basically can't sit there and break that resistance level at 2858, which it's having a hard time to. However, it's still holding support 2750, which is a good sign. This is it. So in summary, if you look at the summary around the world, basically you have, if you go to Europe, Switzerland is still very, very strong out there. And then, excuse me. Switzerland is still very strong. Then if you go out to Middle East, Abu Dhabi and Dubai are leading the pack out there, and they're very, very strong to a point. Abu Dhabi still hasn't even had not even a minor pullback at all. Then if you go to Asia, Japan, of course, is sitting there very strong. Next is Singapore, Thailand, and then the Philippines are moving forward too. Um, and then on the North and South America side, you pretty much got the U.S. markets are moving forward, and everything else is kind of still in limbo and so forth. That's it for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. Speak to you next.